run me fast and get me a chili dog. It's the Sonic episode. Mike Pollock, the voice of Dr. Eggman, was gracious enough to come onto this episode. He and I had met doing a voiceover gig together that did not go anywhere. But he was just such a delight to have on. Lovely guy. Aaron Weber, who also worked on several Sonic games, was our other guest. Eagle-eyed listeners might realize that we skipped an episode. I'm going to be doing a little bit just for various reasons, but I hope you enjoy this venture into another game where you die in 2 hits, which I am historically very bad at. Gaming. Oh, I didn't realize it would do that. Welcome to Don't Mind If I Don't. My name is Aaron, and this is an aggressive expansion of my horizons. If you haven't listened before, every episode we bring on fans or experts of something that I just don't like. On a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being ambivalent, 10 being blood-curdling hatred, all of the topics range somewhere on there, and then these experts try and convince me that I am wrong, and I hope they do, because I'd really like today's topic, Sonic the Hedgehog. Today we have 2 very, very special guests. First of all is Mike Pollock, who is and has been for the last 13 years, the voice actor for Sonic's villain, Dr. Eggman.
Look, I'm doing the voice now. See, it's really me.
Oh my God, we've got Dr. Eggman here with us today.
Cower in fear.
How you doing, Mike?
Very well, thank you, and thank you for having me. This is exciting.
I'm so happy to have you on, man.
You're going down, just so you know.
Oh, please take me down.
Thank you. 2 against 1.
Oh, yeah, and speaking of 2, we've got Aaron Weber over Skype from Burbank, California, reporting live from the Sega office's headquarters. He has been the Sonic social media manager and currently is and has been working at Sega for 7 years. Aaron, thank you for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I've got a paper here with at least 250 reasons why you should like Sonic. So it's gonna be a very interesting call, I think.
Awesome. I have 2 notes here why I don't. So I think you've got the firepower.
All right.
So like I said, everything's on a scale of 1 to 10. Sonic annoys me. I wouldn't say I hate him. I hate the character or any of it, but it does annoy me and it irritates me. So it clocks in at a solid 3. I mostly just don't care about Sonic the Hedgehog, but my biggest issue is that I cannot get behind any video game character that dies in 2 hits, because that's not fun to me. That's just anxiety-inducing. And I grew up watching like the Sonic cartoons, and I played some of the games, and I downloaded that Sonic Dash 2 game that you guys recommended. I've been playing that. I also don't like Temple Run games, so that was a strike against that too. I will say I do like the side characters of Sonic a lot. I mean, Knuckles is the shit. Knuckles is a badass, but just Sonic as a whole, that whole universe, not a fan. So what do you guys got? Why do you like Sonic?
It's fun.
Mike, you want to go first?
Yeah,
go for it, Mike.
I definitely will. It's fun. It's, if nothing else, it's escapism. If you're having a hard day, you can drop into a Sonic game and forget all about it. Even me being, admittedly not a gamer, and as someone who wasn't a Sonic fan until the magic of casting when I auditioned and booked a role, and it's not just that I'm suddenly being paid to enjoy Sonic. It's a fun fan base. It's a fun franchise. It's just fun. Even, the infighting among the fans is fun to watch.
Are they like more who's cooler, Sonic or Shadow?
No, it's a lot more detail-oriented. There are fans of particular iterations of Sonic and particular points in his timeline. And for example, the newer stuff has more detractors than fans in some circles. And it's just fun to watch from a distance as they say, this is better, this is crappy, this is better, this is crappy. And it's like, stop. It's something for everyone, ladies and gentlemen, please.
I will say nerd culture, that's definitely a big sticking point for me. I do appreciate a good, solid, nerd, rabid fan base.
We have that.
Yeah. Sonic traditionalists versus Sonic new Sonics. I don't know what they're called.
Yeah, the open-minded versus the, say, less open-minded.
Right, the old fuddy-duddies.
Yes, without pointing fingers.
Real quick question: when you got cast as Dr. Eggman, was the character still known as Dr. Robotnik?
My scripts have always said Eggman, and that was from
Eggman.
2003, Sonic X.
Okay.
I would point to Aaron for when that changed scripting-wise.
He was about 3 or 4 years away from being a strange hybrid of the two. So it was Robotnik, always in the West, because they thought the name sounded a lot darker and a lot more sinister.
Yeah.
But it was always Eggman in Japan, actually. And so around Sonic Adventure, you'll notice that there's actually some scripted lines in the game where they call him both. And that was the beginning of kind of melding the two together. So he's Evo Robotnik, but they always call him Eggman. Is kind of how it goes.
Robotnik is a much better villain name.
There's a
I think
big
it sounds really strong, yeah.
There's a big debate about that in the fan base, too. And my contention has always been, my scripts have always said Eggman, and that's been for 13 years. Almost, who's counting?
It's been 13 years to pretty much almost the month.
Thank you very much. Yes, August 23rd, 2003. But again, who's counting? And my contention, I always quote Shakespeare, a rose by any other name would smell as sweet. What's in a name? I got that backwards, of course, Shakespeare fans. What's in a name? A rose by any other name would smell as sweet.
Oh, the Shakespeare episode's coming up.
Yes, it is. Yeah, Shakespeare and Juliet. It's very...
Aaron, so why you're a hardcore Sega guy. You've been around for a while. You were a fan of Sonic for how long?
Oh, all my life. You know, I grew up playing the games and loved it as a kid, and that was what made me want to go work there.
So why do you like Sonic? There's little blue spiky
it's the
son
character.
of a bitch.
Oh, sorry, what was that?
This blue little spiky son of a bitch. This
Oh,
ball-like wannabe. This blue baller.
So, I would say one of the key things for the character for me is really how he's portrayed and something about his attitude. And you know, you've got your very safe Mario from the Nintendo side, but then Sega had such a different attitude back then, and they had such a refreshing, I thought, take on the industry and on games in general. And Sonic was sort of the epitome of that. He represented that. He was that personality, and the fact that he didn't care. He had sass to him. He had attitude, and I really loved that
dogs.
as a kid. You know, yeah, he waves his finger, you know, and like he was one of the first games that kind of interacted with you as the player, and he wasn't, you know, taking your crap. He was getting impatient with you as the player and telling you like, let's go. And I thought that was really fun. And so, I mean, Sonic's also, I think, one of the only video game characters that has survived for 25 years. And that's a pretty momentous landmark when you consider that he sits up there with characters like, you know, Mario and maybe a small handful of others, but very few have ever survived to this point and are still getting, you know, TV shows and video games and, you know, cool licensing products and all that stuff. Very, very few have that at this point.
Well, I'll clarify that I don't have a problem with Sonic the character. I'm fine with him. The chili dogs, the cartoons, I mean, Tails is the epitome of he's the Robin of the video game world. He's the eternal sidekick, but who can still kick some ass when it comes down to it.
That's right.
You know, I like the characters. Really, my big issues are the gameplay. I mean, the idea of any character that dies in 2 hits bothers me and gives me a lot of anxiety. Like, I also am not a big fan of Mario.
I'm glad you brought that up. Actually,
Yeah.
Can we talk on that for just a moment?
Please.
Let's do it. Okay, so check this out. So you're correct in critiquing dying in 2 hits. Typically, when you talk about Mario, because you got your mushroom, your power up, whatever it is, you lose the first one. Now you're on thin ice. You're probably dead. In some cases, you can get another. Maybe you get 3 hits at most, right? If you're kind of lucky. But with classic Sonic titles, like if we're talking Sonic 1, 2, 3, and Knuckles, CD, all the originals, right? I'd like to argue that you actually only die in 2 hits if you're bad at the game, and I don't mean that to be insulting, but I mean that because when you get hit, right, your rings flat.
Let's go.
Well, it's true though. Your rings flat. All you have to do is grab any one of those rings. The more rings you've collected, the more chances you have to just pick one up, and now you're totally fine, and you can keep going and survive the boss fight without issue. I don't know. What do you think? Is that fair?
I mean. Look,
I think the gauntlet's been thrown. I would like to see a game off challenge.
Listen, I was raised Jewish. I've been Jewish my whole life. I don't need any help picking coins off the ground or rings. goal. If I, that's kind of in my heritage. But then that's the thing though. Like you get hit. He has that big face. All the things you've been working so hard to collect go flying. You got to grab them. Otherwise, then you got to stop playing the game to pick up the stuff you dropped. That's not fun. That's being a senior citizen. That's like, oh, I'm trying to leave the house, but oh, my keys fell.
So it's a metaphor for life. And what's wrong with that?
That's thin, Mike.
I don't know. Kids got to learn about, the hard knocks somewhere. So why not learn it surreptitiously while having fun with a blue hedgehog?
But I don't know. I'm not having fun. I'm having anxiety attacks because also you go so fast in the game, which is fun. That's really cool. I love that mechanic. But with all those classic levels, you miss things as you go by them. There are all these other secret paths and stuff that you see as you're going by, but you can't do anything about it because you've gone by too fast. Then I always try to go back and I can't, and then my time gets bad, and then it's just more anxiety. It's like the game developers didn't want you to have fun. They wanted to just make fun of you and show you how bad you are at life.
Life's missed opportunities.
Oh, you never played Dark Souls, have you?
No, I have purposely not played Dark Souls because that seems like everything I'd hate about certain video games all at once.
Yeah, I think if classic Sonic games give you anxiety, Dark Souls you will probably literally die while playing it.
Yeah, that's a possibility.
Yeah, and I mean, I think I think Mike is actually onto something with his comparison, and it's a good comparison. And I think this applies to a lot of video games, right? Which is that in the beginning there should be a certain amount of tension, a certain amount of anxiety, because this game isn't about happy rainbows and sunflowers and giving everybody hugs. This game is about traversing traps and dangers and overcoming those obstacles.
I'm sorry. No, I'm going to call bullshit on that because you're destroying machines to let cute little animals out. Yes, it is about hugs. Yes, it is about fun little happy rainbows and stuff. You beat the boss and then tiny little bunnies. You save them. Oh, hug the bunnies.
But then why is it giving you anxiety if it's about hugs and bunnies and rainbows?
Let me tell you about some of the lousy bosses I've had in real life and how I would have killed for some happy little bunnies at the end of the day.
Oh, I thought you.
That was it. That's all I had to say about that.
I don't know. It kind of feels like when you say that it's a metaphor for life, Mike, it feels like that's not something that the game developers did on purpose. That's just a happy coincidence.
I am Mr. Metaphor, so I don't really.
Are you?
Yes, I am.
Oh, there you go. I've actually got the original game design document here. It very specifically says, if ever asked about this in a Skype call, the game is definitely a metaphor for life. It's right here on the paper, guys.
I think we're done here.
Aaron, I can't see because you're over Skype, so I've got no way to know that you are lying or not.
I'll take a picture real quick and I'll send it through the Skype call. Don't worry, trust me, it's totally legit.
I believe I read that in the Wikipedia entry that I'll be editing momentarily.
Exactly. Thank you, Mike.
Is Dr. Eggman still here with us today?
Oh, yes, he is. He's always here. When you least expect him, expect him.
So, Eggman, what is your big problem with Sonic? Because I feel like you and I can connect on this.
He's a jerk.
Go on.
No,
You've known him for longer.
I pretty much sums it up. He's all goody and fast and has friends, and I don't.
You built friends. I watched the cartoon. You had two. What were those robots named?
Well,
Scratch and Grounder, yeah.
I've had a series, depending on which series. Sonic X, there was Deco and Boko. Sonic Boom, there's Orbot and Cubot. So, again, a series of them. And I always say they're like family, but they're not true family. Depending on the timeline you're following, I've had assorted various relatives, but no real friends. So, perhaps jealousy could be the root of all evil.
Damn it, Eggman, it sounds like you're taking their side, and I was kind of relying on you here.
I believe we've discussed how it's about life.
Yeah, that is convenient. I don't know, guys.
Let's go through some other cool stuff, right? So
please.
Sonic's been around for 25 years, right?
And happy anniversary.
Thank you.
Yep. Happy anniversary to Sonic. And actually to Eggman, too. We should take a moment to say happy anniversary to Eggman. It's his 25th anniversary, too.
He'll be the first to mention.
And one of the cool things I think is that Sonic has been through so many different types of games over the years, but has kind of still always remained this icon, right? You've had the 2D games, you've had the 3D games, you've had even the more recent games, right? And all these different sort of universes for Sonic. But there's always new generations of kids growing up kind of experiencing Sonic and getting introduced to the character. And that to me is really cool to watch. Like we have a party this Friday in San Diego, and we sold 1,100 tickets, 1,100 tickets to this party, and we sold out, right? And those are people from around the world flying into San Diego to celebrate this character.
Sound in the background
and its heritage.
What are you shredding?
Are you shredding documents?
I might be shredding the tickets for the party right now. Just don't tell me.
Perfect.
Sorry to interrupt. Keep going.
And those are fans of all
totally
ages.
Fine. You're totally fine. Please ignore any noises you hear in the
Pay
background.
no attention to that man behind the curtain.
I'm going to
Exactly.
be calling every single one of them out. And Eggman, I expect you to do the same.
Of course. But we have fans of all ages coming to the party.
Exactly.
Would I be correct in that assumption?
Yeah, exactly, and lots of them, and that's the cool thing is that we'll have people there that are in their 20s that grew up with Sonic, that are people there that are in their 30s and 40s even that grew up playing Sonic on their Sega Genesis, and the fact that the character still holds that much power and still is cool to them and exciting, I think is really special, and I think there are very few franchises out there that kind of have that clout and that power.
How many Twitter followers now?
365,000, I think. We jumped up about. In like a year, we've jumped up about 220,000 at this point.
That's pretty awesome. Are you the voice of Sonic on Twitter?
Yeah, I am actually. I'm part of a team here, and we all work on that together. And our strategy has just been to try and make fun stuff that makes people laugh. We don't like being, like super corporate and just posting by this, by that. So if we're entertaining people, that's our goal.
Well, again, yeah, I've always liked the Sonic character, and especially his supporting cast. When I found out that I didn't even play that much Smash Brothers anymore, but once I found out he was added to Smash Brothers a few years ago, I was really excited. And then I played it as him, and then I instantly got killed because I don't know, I'll say like him curling up into a ball and firing is an iconic thing, but. Okay, there are a lot of lame things about the Sonic universe, like when he goes supersonic, which is such a blatant ripoff of Dragon Ball Z. It's like that no one was even trying. They kept them as the exact same color. What do you have to say about that?
Mike, what's a Dragon Ball Z? I've never heard of that before.
Is that new that disease that everyone's getting? The Zika?
Oh no, that's that thing that it's with the Gundams and stuff. I think. Mike, that might be that thing.
Oh, yeah, it's nothing. Yeah.
You guys having fun?
Yeah, we've never.
You guys
we've
having
never
a little bit of
before.
fucking fun here?
No idea.
Ignoring reality.
Maybe
in your
we're
tiny
in-
little blue-shaped bubble.
Maybe we're in a different universe. Maybe it's a better universe, Aaron.
It's not. It's not a better universe. I'll settle that one right now.
I happened to be acquaintances with one of the actors in this franchise of which you speak. And
Who? Which character?
Sean Schemmel plays Goku. And
Oh wow.
he knows what he did.
He knows what he. I'm sorry. No, Dragon Ball Z did that way first.
Imitation is the sincerest of flattery, I believe, is a common phrase that I've heard. So now I'm not saying that anyone imitated anyone else.
No, I'm saying it. I'm saying you guys ripped off Dragon Ball Z.
Rip off is such a strong word.
No word from Sega headquarters right there, Aaron? Or are you afraid that your overlords are watching?
Oh, they're always watching. That one, it's a fun one because that one was one that was long before I got here. I was a kid at the time, but I think it's cool. Personally, I'm actually a fan of the series. Maybe here's what we can say: the Sonic arcs, at least, and I say this by the way with utmost respect and a lot of love for the Dragon Ball Z series too, and just the Dragon Ball series in general. But generally, the Sonic games hit their arc and move into the wrap up of the story pretty quickly versus I think maybe taking like 34 episods to get there. That's an exaggeration, I know.
Oh, no. Don't get me wrong. I'm not a huge Dragon Ball Z fan. I think when you end one episode with a guy screaming just to power up, and then 2 episodes later it's on that exact same moment, then you got a
Exactly,
really
right?
slow
Yeah.
show. But
Yeah, and there's some moments when it's definitely better, So it's like I still like that series quite a bit. But
it was iconic.
I think there are certain interesting parallels. I think you're right on that.
That's not a parallel, though. You guys just took that.
An homage, perhaps.
An homage,
I mean, there have to
fine.
be other characters that glow gold, right? Certainly.
Yeah, but when you call it super, when it's so directly, and his hair even stands up on end the same way.
Well, remember, it's all a Japanese thing, and there's a certain Japanese animation style, the anime style, where that's a fairly common design thing. There are a lot of spiky-haired, spiky-headed characters in the world of anime, as I've dubbed lots of it in my time.
I feel like there's, at some point, if you say the wrong thing, I'm going to see a little red sniper dot on your forehead, and I feel like you know that.
Perhaps I'll move away from the window.
Yeah, you are at prime sniper territory right now.
Having attended numerous anime conventions, the fairly common cosplay theme is spiky hair.
Yeah. All right. I mean, like, of all the tropes to take, it's definitely an interesting one, and for the wordplay of calling it supersonic, I can see some benefit.
Well, hang on. What's it in Japan, Aaron? Do you know? Aaron and Sega.
Mike, you asking me?
Yes.
We probably should have established
It's the
which
same.
was.
Yeah,
Yes,
it's the
sorry.
same.
Okay.
All the same in Japan.
Interesting.
Are you sure? Yeah.
Don't know what that proves. I brought that up. I know.
Why do I still have an issue with Sonic the Hedgehog with any of the games? Why do I have this revulsion to it?
Let's leave the games for a minute. Have you seen our latest stuff? For example, the Sonic Boom cartoon.
No, I haven't seen the
You
cartoon.
were assigned. You were assigned to see Sonic Boom. Sonic Boom, if I may, in my incredibly unbiased opinion, it has turned the Sonic the Hedgehog characters essentially into a sitcom. Classic sitcom.
Assuming slapstick.
A little bit of slapstick, but it was smart, snappy dialogue. Of course, the fans would debate that, some of them. But when we record, we've completed season 1. When we recorded, there was much laughter in the room. Both from the actors and from the directors, because there's a lot of funny stuff. Really? We can get away with that? That's funny.
With Knuckles, as I was playing that Sonic Dash 2 game, Knuckles is all of a sudden gigantic and really beefy. Is that how he is in that cartoon too?
He's not only beefy, but perhaps the meat-headed might be an appropriate description. He's a little on the dopey side, and that's purely because it's funny. Believe me, that representation of Knuckles has its detractors, but as the producer of the show and the head writer of the show said, it's funny.
Yeah, I'm okay with that. I will say I was always a fan of the bad boy Knuckles, but I accept this.
Yeah, watching the social media discussion of, I hate the new Knuckles, but then again, he was funny in that thing where he did the thing. Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. You're right.
What's Tails like?
Tails is just an eager beaver science nerd.
That sounds about right.
Yeah,
it's about it. Yeah, about on par for Tails.
Yeah.
And it's important to note too that the original Knuckles is still out there. The Boom universe for that TV show and for the Boom games sort of exists in parallel. So the original Knuckles, who is perhaps a little bit more clever, he's still not the brightest, but more clever, right? Mm-hmm. He's certainly still out there too.
And the Sonic Dash 2 game, that's modeled after Sonic
That's
Boom.
Boom. That's right.
That is
Boom.
Boom.
It's the bigger Knuckles.
All right. So how do I get past this dislike of dying in 2 hits? Because I'm not very good at most video games. So, and yes, that is my personal problem, but this whole podcast is my personal problem. So
since it's all about you.
Yeah.
Practice makes perfect. As I've said, and I say it a little too often, I'm not a gamer. And I grew up just as video games were becoming a thing. I had little plastic toy video game things that I managed to figure out because they were so simple. I said, oh, I've got the trick here. I can hack my way through this game, and I've now lost interest. But I've grown up alongside them and have become associated with them for the past 13 years. That if I were to start playing, I could see myself wanting to practice enough to get good at it. a couple of the online simple games that I've played, not related to Sonic. It's like, okay, I could see how people could get into this, and I would play it enough. Here's what I did as a kid. There was an arcade game, this is how old I am, called Trivia Whiz. It was a trivia game because I've always loved trivia. And I said, a video game about trivia. It's not really about coordination. It's more about reflexes and knowing the answers. And I also learned that it's a very small base of questions. I played it enough at the arcade and went through enough numbers or enough quarters that I was able to memorize all the questions and reach the top of the leaderboard. Not exactly something to be proud of, but it was practice makes perfect. I played it enough to say, okay, I'm now learning the answers to this game. I'm now really good at it. That was fun.
But you enjoyed playing that game. You enjoyed going on that journey. I'm not a fan of these spikes that come out of nowhere that just...
What kind of games do you like? Let's start here. Let's start with, what kind of games do you really enjoy?
I like third-person action adventure when I'm doing like console stuff. I love the Uncharted series. I love the Batman series. The Batman series were amazing. My favorite all-time... I love any game generally with superpowers, or at least I'm interested in them.
Yeah. So how about the final boss? You played the very first Uncharted game, right, and beat it, I'm sure?
Yeah.
Cool. Final boss on the first Uncharted game. I'm guessing you didn't beat it the first time you tried it, right?
Remind me, was those crazy, scary
you got
little...
It's all sorts of cover you've got to do, and then you've got to do the quick time style. There's a lot going on, and one mistake essentially kills you.
Yeah, but I mean... I enjoyed the puzzles. I enjoyed the game mechanics. I enjoyed the game. I actually had one of the coolest moments ever happen to me in all of video gaming happened while playing Uncharted. Just this attention to detail that the developers threw in there, where a bad guy was about to throw a grenade at me, and I shot him. I didn't kill him though. I ran out of bullets, so I just shot him like once, and he drops the grenade and goes like, "Oh shit!" Then he looked at the grenade, looked at me, realized his own mortality, started to run away, but then the grenade went off and killed him. That's a good game. That's a really good game when the bad guy will notice their own mortality and you'll see that fear in their eyes. That's awesome. And I've never seen anything even close to that in Sonic.
That's really like life.
Yeah.
Right? And I'll agree with you. The Uncharted series is a great series, and I loved playing the original Uncharted as well and going through it. And the point I wanted to make is that, kind of like Mike has said, I think it really is a matter of practice makes perfect. The first time you go swimming, you're a little nervous. You've never jumped in the pool before. Am I going to drown? Like, there's this sense of fear as a kid, right? And then you get used to it, and suddenly, this is fine. This is actually really cool. This is very comfortable. I don't know what your personal stance on swimming is, right? But as an example.
Yeah, but it's not so much practice makes perfect to get better at the game. It's, I ran by that thing, so when I replay this level, just make sure that I catch that thing. Like, that's not a skill level. That's just, right, now there's that other bullshit the developers left in there for me that I'm going to miss.
But I think that the obstacles in Sonic are just the same as any obstacle in any video game, really, right? You've got spikes here, you've got a trap here. Everything has some counter to it. There's always a way around it. And just like in Uncharted, where there are moments when you don't want to run up in front of maybe like 10 guys at once, you need to use cover, right? There's similar things in Sonic to make the comparison here, where taking this route or deciding to slow down might actually be a really important thing. You don't always have to go super fast in Sonic. I know we say gotta go fast, but especially with the classic games, taking your time and learning it first and getting comfortable with it, I think is actually really helpful to ease that kind of anxiety that you might be talking about.
Maybe. I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of platformer games either. So I think that, and that's what Sonic is. It's a hyper fast platformer where don't miss it or you're dead. And you lose all your rings.
Sometimes dead, or sometimes you miss, like a secret hidden area. Being open to platformers, I think, is pretty key to liking the original Sonic games.
Fair.
Now, have you ever played? Did you like Tetris or the?
I love Tetris. I love Tetris. I do love a good puzzle game. Probably the most played game on my phone is Marvel Puzzle Quest, because that's like basically Bejeweled but with Marvel characters.
Okay,
I get how lame that sounds, but I stand by it.
No. I'm glad you say that, because I think I may have just stumbled upon the Sonic game that you will love more than any other Sonic game. And part of me can't believe I'm going to say this. Mike is going to love this. So, in the Genesis days, Sega brought over a very Japanese game called Puyo Puyo. It was a little similar to Tetris, but it had some really cool quirks to it. And it was a really fun, very addictive game, but they needed to market it for the audience here. So they, instead of calling it Puyo Puyo, they called it Dr. Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine. And with a name like that, how can you go wrong, right? But you should seriously check this out, because this might end up being the Sonic game that you love the most, because it's got that strategy element to it. You're planning many steps in advance. You can play against other people, like 2-player. So you should check that out at some point and see what you think about it. It's totally different from the platforming Sonic games.
Problem right off the bat with that, if you're calling it a Mean Bean Machine and you've already got a food stuff in your title, go with Dr. Eggman. Call it Dr. Eggman's Mean Bean Machine. Just keep it on brand at least.
Yes, this was the early 90s, a different time. But I don't know, Mike, what do you think? Have you played that one a lot, Mike?
The kids probably have played it more than I have, but I would direct you even more arcane. The Leapster Sonic X game with Dr. Eggman's amazing math robots. Maybe you should be brushing up on your math skills.
Robots.
Nobody
All right, I take back what I said about Sonic having good characters.
There's a little bit of you gotta take the good with the bad, and there's a lot of hidden gold, no pun intended, that's buried inside the characters.
I will say the Sonic game I played the most was for the GameCube. It was part Sonic game, but also you'd get these eggs and you'd kind of raise them into being either good or bad little babies.
Oh man, yeah, Sonic Adventure 2 Battle. You're talking about the Chow,
Adventure
the
2
little
Battle,
Chow guys.
yes. Yeah, and I remember that Bat girl who was
Rouge was her name, yes.
Yeah.
We don't use Batgirl as a term. That could cause some confusion.
Rouge, I remember standing out and I was like, that Bat wants to fuck Sonic, right? That wasn't just me?
That might have been just. Well, I mean, I'm sure there's actually someone on the internet that has had that same thought. I'm quite sure of it.
Oh no, Rule 34 is definitely. There's got to be stuff about Rule 34 with Rouge.
I have closed many a web page in haste upon stumbling upon stories.
Okay. Well, I guess there are a couple Sonic games I should try that are about puzzling.
Well, here's the thing. If we give you assignments, including assignments that you hadn't taken yet, do we get a follow-up visit to
Possibly.
I
think
it's
I
young
would
in
like
the
to
series.
check back in with this.
Yeah.
I would like to.
I don't mean to start a dangerous precedent so early in the series.
No, please do. I mean, that we're still figuring this bad boy out. Okay. Let me try those games.
And try Sonic Boom the cartoon.
I'm going to try that. Where can I watch that?
It's Cartoon Network still has some episodes on demand.
Would it be on any of the streaming services?
Yes, it's on. We're on Hulu.
Hulu's
yes.
got it as well.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, I'll give any one in particular I should watch. Or the listeners.
There's the one that's been nominated for a bunch of film festivals. Eggman the Auteur.
Eggman the Auteur.
Yes, which I'm not promoting just because it focuses on Dr. Eggman, but it's been submitted to many festivals and it's very clever.
Okay, what season and episode is that?
Season 1, because that's all we have so far.
Gotcha.
And 30s, I think it's.
How many episodes per season? And how long are these episodes?
50 to 11-minute episodes.
Oh, okay, so it's a lot like Steven Universe.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So if your attention
I love
span,
Steven Universe.
If your attention span is as short as mine can be, it's a perfect length. But yeah, somewhere later you just search it by name.
Okay, you know what? I'm gonna try it out. I mean, there's a very good chance I would like it because again, I do like most of the characters, but I want to try these games out. However, I gotta say, I was not convinced to enjoy this anymore. I do still like the characters, and I've got respect for them. But if we started out at a 3, I don't feel any more anger. You know what? I'm actually going to say, well, we bumped up to a 3.5.
Well, we're not in a position to design a custom game for you right at this
yes,
moment.
do that. Do that for me. I have the power here. Make that happen.
The boys in R&D would have to do quite a bit of work to make that happen.
Yes, pander to me.
We'll just tighten up the graphics on level 5. It'll be all right.
Guys, thank you so much for stopping by here. Sorry you couldn't convince me to like Sonic the Hedgehog games. I do like the character and I do like the universe, but those games, they're not for me.
Our work is not done. You have 2 assignments.
I do.
Watch
That's
Eggman the Auteur and
right.
play Dr. Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine.
How can I play Mean Bean Machine?
Yes, how can he play Mean Bean Machine?
I think it's on Steam, actually. It's probably available all over the place. Do you have Steam?
No, I've got a Mac that is giving me problems at the moment.
Do you have friends?
I've got friends.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll look into it. If you have a Genesis, we can get you a copy there. It's also available, I'm sure, on some other places. So we'll find out. I'll send you.
He's obviously very deprived.
Send me a Sega Genesis. That would be great.
Well, just in the mail. That's what we do.
Aaron, do you have anything that you would like to plug?
Yeah, I guess so. So we've got, if this comes out before the 22nd of July, then we do have the party.
It will
coming
not.
on the 22nd. We got a live stream.
This will probably be out end of August, early September.
Will the live stream?
Cool.
Will the live stream be archived somewhere where people can see it after the fact?
That's right. So if you wanna hopefully watch over 1,000 Sonic fans who are very excited for Sonic and for Sonic games, then you'll probably be able to see that on the live stream. And beyond that, yeah, just say hello to us anytime on Sonic's Twitter or Facebook page or Tumblr. We're all over the place. We'd like to have a fun time with that, and we more than welcome all comments, criticism, you name it.
And where can we watch the video of that live stream?
That's going to be at twitch.tv/SonicOfficial.
Gotcha.
Full of big announcements that we've already made by the time this is heard.
But please, yeah, exactly. Anything for like early September would be. Okay.
They're huge announcements, just giant.
Mike, anything for you to plug?
If you're not watching me in the various, or listening to me, I guess, the various Sonic properties, you can find me on social media. It's a Mike, ITSAMIKE, both Twitter and Facebook, and it's a Mike.com. And then you've probably heard me in many things that you didn't realize were me, in weird commercials and probably foreign shows that shouldn't have been dubbed into English, things like that.
Yeah, actually, that's how Mike and I met, doing voiceover for a failed Office commercial web series thing that never happened.
Has that officially been nixed?
I'm almost positive that's been nixed.
Because I've been checking the YouTube channel where it should be, and nothing.
Yeah, if any of you ever see a bunch of Office supplies talking to each other with a printer that talks like this,
and a shredder that sounds like this,
then that's us.
Yeah.
But I think that those are dead.
If I find it, I will be posting it on social media because I'm going to guess if they have to do full-scale animation and stop motion and stuff for real life stuff. Yeah, the post-production could be taking years. But if I find it, I'll be posting it. I'm sure you will be too.
If I find it, I will, but I think it's dead. Anyway.
We got paid.
Yeah, we got paid. That was fine. You can follow me personally on Instagram and Twitter at Hey, it's Aaron Gold. That's Aaron with 2 A's, AARONGOLD. Also, you can follow this podcast on Instagram and Twitter at Don't Mind Podcast. Don't Mind Podcast. I want to thank our resident co-producer and tech genius, Grant Michael Goldberg, my better half. Also, I'd like to plug Grant and we've got a show every month, the last Friday of every month at 7 o'clock at the Magnet Theater. It's called You Are Not Alone. So go check that out. It's a wonderful show. Guys, thank you so much for being on here. I'm going to try subjecting myself to Sonic. Maybe we can do a Sonic Part 2 down the line.
Sure. Our work is not yet done here.
No. Oh, and Eggman, do you have anything to plug?
I will eventually conquer your fear of the franchise. Don't you worry, Aaron.
Very arrogant from you, from an Eggman.
It's what I do.
That's fair enough. All right, guys, thank you so much. We'll see you again next time. Okay, thanks. Bye. Hey, guys, thanks so much for listening. What I'd like to do right now is read the names of some of the people that have left us reviews on iTunes and say something that I like about them. Texas T and the Wave. I like that you are probably 2 radio show morning hosts. Aussie Birdie Gal. I like that you are probably my girlfriend, but if not, 3 nouns. And Rights and Rights. I like that you are repetitive and repetitive. Guys, thank you so much for listening. If you would like me to read your name and something that I like about you, go ahead, leave us a review on iTunes. Maybe give us some stars to go along with it. That'd be nice. Thanks very much, and I'll see you next time.